When you hear the name Babe Ruth, it doesn't take a baseball fan to recognize it. The name has become something of a cultural shortcut like Jordan, LeBron, or Elvis. In just 2 words, you already start to imagine a towering figure with a booming swing and a legend who seemed larger than the sport he played. Babe Ruth was one of the most famous athletes in the world, and it wasn't just because of his home runs, but it was because of the perfect timing, his personality, and it was the cultural impact that made him larger than life. To understand Babe Ruth's fame, you must understand the world that he stepped into. In the early 1900s, America was hungry for heroes. America has just come out of World War I, and the people needed something exciting, they needed hope, and they needed a distraction. Baseball at the time was already popular, but it needed a spark, something exciting and something new. Before Ruth, baseball was a low-scoring strategic game built around bunts and stolen bases. Then Babe Ruth came along, he hit home runs that no one's ever seen before. He hit more home runs than entire teams. In a time before social media, before TV, and before sports highlights, newspapers were exploding with stories about him. He became the first true sports superstar in a country that was ready for one. His fame wasn't just about what he did, it was when he did it. He arrived at the exact moment America needed a larger-than-life figure, and he filled that role perfectly. Talent alone doesn't make someone unforgettable. Personality does, and Babe Ruth had one of the biggest personalities in sports. He was loud, funny, generous, unpredictable, and completely unfiltered. He would joke with reporters, he would wave at fans in the crowd, he'd spend hours signing autographs, and he would visit hospitals without cameras or publicity. He lived big, he talked big, and he played even bigger, and the people loved him for it. He wasn't a distant, polished celebrity, he was relatable. He came from a tough childhood, he made mistakes, and he lived boldly, and he didn't pretend to be perfect. In a way, he represented the American dream. A kid who had nothing to become the world's first famous baseball player. Reporters adored him because he made great stories. The fans adored him because he felt human, and together built the combination that made him unforgettable. Even after his final game, Babe Ruth's influence didn't fade, it grew. He changed the way that baseball was played, he changed the way that the fans connected to the sport, and he changed the way that the players were marketed. He became a symbol not just for baseball, but for the American culture. Babe Ruth is in movies, commercials, books. He's everywhere. His records stood for decades. Kids who've never played baseball or seen baseball know who he is. From the swing, the smile, the point to center field, it made his identity unmatched. And maybe most importantly, he became a measuring stick of greatness. When someone does something great, we compare him to Babe Ruth, calling him the Babe Ruth of. That's when you know someone's fame has crossed into legend. He's not just a person anymore, he's now a symbol of greatness itself. So in conclusion, Babe Ruth didn't become famous by accident. He became famous because he stepped into the spotlight in the perfect moment. He had a personality that demanded attention, and his impact stretched far beyond the baseball field. He wasn't just a great baseball player who hit home runs. He was famous because he changed the game, he captured the country's imagination, and he left a legacy so powerful that even today, nearly a century later, his name still stands for greatness. In the end, when you hear someone mention Babe Ruth, just remember that he wasn't famous just for his home runs, but he was famous for so much more. He was famous because he was kind, he was generous, he would joke with reporters no matter who you were, and he left a legacy so powerful that even today, nearly a century later, he still stands for greatness. To leave you off with a quote from The Sandlot, heroes get remembered, but legends never die.